guaranteeing all these things are true. And you're just cutting things up in some way. So of course, we know that they're all true ahead of time. Why bother trying to find some better explanation for that? But somehow when you stare at the actual expressions, it looks like there's some other kind of identities at play, not simply the fact that you're expressing one underlying amplitude or computing it using residue terms. They seem to have a life of their own. They satisfied other identities between each other that weren't directly related to the equality of amplitudes under different ways of doing BCFW, for example. And that was inspiration to try to think that these terms were coming from some other world, right? The BCFW terms are coming from some other world. And gradually, BCFW terms are connected to structures in the Grassmannian, the positive Grassmannian, and now we see that they're all actually gluing together into forming the amplitude. So, for planar n equals 4 super Yang mills, the miracles of BCFW ultimately have some explanation of cutting up one underlying object, right? And indeed, the amplitude is the answer to a different question. Now, we know that non-planar Yang mills and gravity, they're also have BCFW expansion. They have very similar looking miracles, even more miracles in fact. And so that makes it at least worth trying to see whether the same sort of thing might be true. Whether, again, the identities that relate them all are somehow cutting something up. Maybe they are and maybe they aren't, but I think it's the fact that pursuing that line of thinking led to discovering interesting things seems to motivate trying to do it also for gravity. But there was a big obstruction to doing anything with gravity for a long time, which is that while we knew that in some sense there was something much nicer going on, there was still, the structure of gravity amplitudes was opaque. We didn't even understand the MHV amplitudes in the simplest way. While we could compute higher K amplitudes using BCFW, the sort of the analog of seeing the structure of them that you could start seeing in Yang mills was still not so obvious. And all of that changed tremendously in the past year, thanks to Freddie and his friends, and Dave Skinner, Andrew Hodges, who kicked things off by finding this incredible formula for MHV amplitudes. And so I hope we hear from Freddie tomorrow about some aspects of those gravity amplitudes. Now, depending on what he talks about tomorrow, the line of thinking that they've been exploring, it still seems somewhat orthogonal to the BCFW world. As I like to say, when you think about amplitudes, there's a curvy way of thinking about amplitudes and there's a blocky way of thinking about amplitudes. The curvy way is kind of descended or morally connected to the original picture of twistor string theory, and the blocky way is related to these recursive ways of computing the amplitudes. So Freddie and Dave and friends have made amazing progress on the curvy way, which hopefully we'll hear something about. But we still don't know how that is mirrored in the blocky way. I hope it's mirrored in the blocky way. And anyway, so that's what we'll hear about tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
So we'll meet tomorrow at 2 here.